Welcome to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show, where we go across country and travel the world with members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. Let's go. Welcome, everyone. You know, every second Friday, we travel with the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We chat with travel writers that are members, and they take us on their experiences and adventures across the country and around the world. And today, Linda Miltz is back on the show. You can keep up with her at toastingfoodwinetravel.com, appropriate website. And she's going to tell us about her recent experiences in the City of Lights. And she's got a great article that is linked in the episode notes. And you can read all about it there and see her photos. But she said she had a perfect week. She celebrated a birthday with the friends and did all kinds of shopping, went to grocery stores. So you lived like a Parisian for a week.
Right, right. That was part of my goals. I wanted to see what it was like how they actually live rather than just going to all the monuments that we do the first time we go there.
Right. So is this how many times have you been now?
I've been 3 times, but one time was so brief I could hardly count it. So,
But you can't say you stepped foot. I did it, man.
yes.
Yeah, I know that. I know that. I know that is my experience in Paris. Was we landed and went to another airport, so that was it. But I was a little kid, so it really doesn't count because I can't tell you one thing about Paris, and I certainly can't pronounce anything. But I have friends from France, but International Food Wine Travel Writers Association is doing their next conference in Lafayette, Louisiana. So be prepared for French
Yes.
conversations, French food, good music. Are you going to go to that? Do you think?
There's a good chance. I've been to Lafayette once and I loved it.
Mm.
It's learn how to do
Actually, I
zydeco.
think you were on our show talking about it. It was a
Yeah,
few
I
years. You
think
were.
so.
I think that
Yeah,
was the first time actually that you were on the show talking
yeah.
about it. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
the zydeco dancing was one of the highlights for sure.
So this is kind of cool that you go to Paris and you're going to live like a Parisian for a week and at the same time see the influence that France has had in, Louisiana. So you've had two different French experiences, which is pretty cool. Unless you've
Yeah.
done Canada too. Now that's a whole.
I've only been to Vancouver a million years ago, but I would love to
Yeah.
go.
Okay, so we've got another trip planned for you now
Right.
then. Okay. I think you got to go to Ontario and Quebec. Quebec. That
Yes.
that would be the place to go, I think.
Yeah.
I
I
haven't done that either.
yeah.
So you need to go until,
Yes.
until we get there. But I love this idea. Nancy and I travel the country documenting parks, public lands, but then we pet sit as we travel. So we get to live in these different communities across the country. And people think, well, let me tell you, it is America and we are vast and different. Every state, every city, every community. And it is a different experience in travel to be there. And so you got like a vacation rental, right? To stay there. And so
Yes.
that is a different experience.
Yes. Stephanie Sparkman, who is one of my friends, for her 65th birthday. Sorry, Stephanie, to give it away, but for her 65th birthday, she decided
Young.
she wanted to spend a month in France. And so
Wow.
we could choose which week we wanted to do or if we wanted to do more than one. And so I chose Paris because I didn't feel like I knew Paris very well at all. And I knew it'd be wonderful. And she found the Airbnb. So all we had to do was we paid for our food when we were there and our transportation to get there. But we had our place to stay already set up for us.
Oh,
And it
that's
was
sweet
in
of her.
I have to say this for you. It was in our 11th arrondissement. So,
You
so
said it. You did
it,
it.
so it
You
was
did it.
kind of, it was a neighborhood. It wasn't like staying in a hotel in the very busiest part of Paris.
Say it again, though, the neighborhood name. Come on.
It's an 11th arrondissement.
Wow.
Mon.
Yeah, you did good. So did you learn more French being there, like get into the language?
I did not too much. I was with a couple of people, one that knew was a little more fluent, and two others that have some basic knowledge of it. So it was nice having them there. We didn't really need it, but I'm sure the French
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah, I think whenever you try to learn a language or just try to, it's respectful, to
Yes.
try and do that and it's entertaining.
Yeah. It's fun.
Say that neighborhood name again.
Yeah.
I said it's entertaining. But no, but I think that's great. And so what was great is like you were talking about going to the grocery store and then, coming back. So you guys are all foodies. And so you had one of your friends there that just like made this entire feast.
Yes. Well, I knew to it ended up being what were there? There were 7 of us altogether,
Oh,
one
wow.
woman who showed up for like a couple days and really wasn't with us too much. But the other single, and neither one of either her or Vanessa, the other single woman, I'd never met before. So it was a new experience. Didn't know what it was going
Yeah.
to be like. They were good friends of my friend Stephanie, who set the trip up. So so that was something to, find out what they were like. And Vanessa and I, the other single woman from Portland she owns Cafe Now. So she's an amazing cook. And part of the deal is that when we were there, we would take different nights to cook dinner. So, and we luckily were a door or two down from this little local grocery store. So we could go there and get whatever we needed for dinner.
So what was the grocery store like? This is a neighborhood. Is it like going to, I'm trying to think where you are in Southern California, like Alberts, do
Yeah,
Albertsons still
not
exist? Yeah.
anything much more condensed space, but it was amazing. They had fresh chicken and and other kinds of meats, and they had a display of produce. They didn't have tons of produce. There was
Mm,
enough fresh produce that was really good that you could pick to have a meal. And
mm.
actually, I got something one night to make. I made chicken Dijon. So I got everything at that store. But when we got there, it was a Saturday, I think. On Sunday, we went to the market, the food market. That was the biggest one. And that's where she got all of her produce and her pork
Mm.
tenderloin that she made.
So this is like a giant farmer's market.
Yes, yeah, it's amazing. And it was mainly produce, but there were also other things like really pretty scarves and necklaces and plants. And it was a wonderful shopping
Oh, wow.
experience.
So is
And
this something they
cheese,
do?
cheese.
Oh, oh, bring the cheese. Bring it.
Yeah,
Yes, we want the cheese.
yes,
Um, so you were able to go shopping, to your heart's content on, dining, what you're going to eat that night, for the birthday girl. And
yes.
then, just for other, just, yeah, fashion, like you were saying. But is this a market that happens all the time, like daily, or is it monthly, do you think? Or you
No,
were,
it's every Sunday that it
oh,
happens.
okay.
And it's called Place
You go, girl.
Place de Bastille, I guess like Bastille. We say Bastille.
Okay.
So you could
Okay.
see the Bastille monument in the background, and it was just this long
Mm.
strip of concrete where they'd set up
Mm.
all the booths.
So what was it like staying in the Airbnb? Like, was it like a normal house? In regards to the similarities or differences between like staying in an American Airbnb, which can be completely different depending on what state or city too.
Well, the ones that she chose, which I wish I could have seen before, were like chateaus, and there were
Oh,
as many as 10 to 12 people staying in those chateaus. So she had big places. This one had 5 bedrooms and I think it was, let's see, 2 showers, 3 toilets, and it was on 2 different levels. So,
oh,
and it was really nice. It was contemporary, kind of the little bit rough looking, like the brick with the open beams look.
oh,
And but
cool.
it had everything in the place. So
Mm.
it was great. We all had our own private bedrooms.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah.
So, so you can do the groceries, you did the farmers markets and everything, but I know you went to the Eiffel Tower that you
Yes.
had to, right?
Yes.
But in the shopping vein, You went to some store where somebody got something high end and they brought you champagne. That is so typical. Like that was like that's something, but you have to do it at the right level, right? You can't just
Oh
go in
yeah,
and
it was
say,
Louis
yeah.
Vuitton,
Oh, that's right.
and
Yeah.
the birthday girl decided
Mm,
she was going to treat herself to a birthday present,
mm,
and there were four of us, including wait a minute, one, two, three, yeah, four of us there, her included, and so we watched as she looked at different pieces of luggage, and she
mm.
ended up with one, and then we didn't realize, but to avoid the VAT tax, you need to give them your passport. So Peter, her significant other, had to get an Uber and come with the passport so she wouldn't have to pay the VAT tax later on. And in the meantime, they offered us a glass of champagne, and then we asked for one more.
No, well, you guys are, you're an IFTWA girl, you know. It's all, you know,
Yeah,
toasting food, wine, and travel. This
yeah,
is fun. But I had a friend who had a boutique up in Julian, in San Diego in the mountains. And we do all, I was doing photography for her for all the different outfits and everything that she had a boutique, and we would just get champagne. And I was like, there's no photographing. And you're getting all these different ladies to wear your clothes, and they're not models, but
yes,
I said, oh, we can't do this without champagne. And I mean, all I know is became this all day affair. And people like came in the store, and then of course you can't not share, right?
right.
She did really well every time there was a photography day, because then we're like bringing out she had all these gemstone jewel. I mean, it was just flowy, beautiful outfits, right? And
No,
everybody, when she's from Germany, and then she lived all over the world in India and Thailand, and so she's got all these connections for these exotic clothes that are just gorgeous. Morocco, you name it. And everybody would just start drinking champagne, and it became this all day festival. And she would just go, hey, I need to boost some sales. Can you come play photography and champagne? I'm like, sure. You're doing the champagne though, because you're going to make money today. And it was
right.
true. Anytime we did that, the champagne came out. And then Nancy and I got to the point of like, that's no, it's the only way I want to buy clothes is if I have champagne, and even hair. Like, if I go into a salon, give me champagne, because then I'll just, be fine. I don't know what it is, but it makes everything better.
It's the bubbles.
It's the bubbles.
Stephanie, the birthday girl, has a shop called Consigning Women in Lake Oswego, so she can purchase
Oh,
to her heart's content. If she doesn't like something, it can go into that shop on consignment.
wow. Smart girl. Good
Yeah,
shout out for her too.
yeah.
That's cool. Well, that's got to be epic for her, being in Paris, and all I mean, because wasn't it Fashion Week while you were there too?
Yes, yes. And so we went to the Galleries Lafayette, which I have not been to before, which is it's several buildings, but the main building has this amazing stained glass dome that you see from the first, second, and third floor, I believe, in the middle. And so just seeing that was beautiful. But then we were going to have dinner on the top because they have a restaurant out on the very top of that
Hmm.
building, but it was misty and raining and they had closed it. But we did get to go up and we had amazing views of the Opera House and the Eiffel Tower. And
Oh,
there
wow.
were several people on the rooftop taking photos for Fashion Week. One in particular was this woman that had this Japanese beautiful little kimono with a big red scarf again, and she was with the backdrop of the opera house. And it was so beautiful, so fun to get to see them do that. Um,
Wow. So
and
it's
we
like a
did run
full
into
real
people.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, yeah.
Huh.
And they have a sign that says it's a hashtag JTME Paris on the top of the building.
Je t'aime? Is
Yeah,
it je t'aime?
Jetem. Yeah,
Ooh, I got one in. I got
yeah,
one. It's
you
like,
did better than me.
and it's Paris. I think it's Paris. I'm not with the R.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
is
know. No
Paris.
rolling. Paris, the city of lights, right? So from Je t'aime to let's go to the Latin Quarter. I didn't even know there was a Latin Quarter in Paris, the city of lights. But you went for lunch there, and girls had a good time.
Yes, it wasn't like we think of as Latin with Mexican food. It's actually the Jewish community.
Oh,
Yeah, and it's also, I think, more of a gay area and lots of shopping. And so we were still doing our shopping, and and we found different little places to go in. We found some not any huge purchases, but a few. And then we ended up in the Latin Quarter, and we decided there was a fondue and raclette restaurant because we needed
oh,
more cheese.
yes.
so so we had lunch there. It was just the girls that had lunch there,
Yeah.
and
It
it
was a
was
girls'
wonderful.
girls' day out. Yeah.
Yes, yes, for sure. So we had raclette, we had mussels, we had raclette, we had fondue, and interesting, they made the fondue with goat cheese. I think there was
Oh,
another kind too, but yeah, it was very good.
wow,
And
that's different. Yeah.
yeah, and then some French wine, of course.
I was
Gotta have
gonna say
that.
you can't have cheese without the partner, you
No,
know.
yeah,
No, you can't, it's like the champagne for shopping,
right,
and
yes,
hair and all of that, So that's really cool to go,
yeah,
all these different places, and have these different experiences. But then also, I was gonna say that you guys also had some nightlife, which sounds fun.
yes, yes. Vanessa lives in Portland, my new friend that I just made on this trip, and
But
we
this is
both.
cool that you had that kind of experience,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it was. It worked out.
Mhm.
She was lovely. So it worked out that we both were leaving Paris on the same flight to San Francisco. Then I went to San Diego, and she went to Portland.
Okay.
So since we were going on the same flight, we have had a driver. Our flight was at 6:15 in the morning. So her idea, which I thought was brilliant, was that we won't go to sleep because going to sleep at 1 or 2 in the morning and then having to get up in 2 hours is worse than not sleeping. And then if we didn't sleep, then we would sleep on the plane the whole time.
Yeah.
So we went out to two very beautiful, beautiful, like high end 4-star hotels with their bars that were there. And they were both wonderful. My favorite was La Maurice. And it both of them are decorated by the same interior designer,
Mm.
and so it was interesting because La Maurice is very traditional. Costas is much more modern, I guess you'd say. And Costas is where people like the Kardashians stayed for Fashion Week.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, so it was fun to see. We didn't see anyone because it was towards the end of Fashion Week. We didn't really see anyone in the bar, but we did run into a couple of men who said they were, helping out with some star, which I'm not certain what all, but it was interesting. And it was fun to see the place and fun to see there were, obviously people traveling, but also Parisians that were coming into these bars.
Mm.
So we felt like we had a bit of the glamorous nightlife in Paris.
Oh.
Yes.
So now what was the cocktails here before you get on an airplane? What cocktails were you ladies having, or are you still
Well,
sticking to wine?
we were having Dom Perignon.
Oh, oh
Yes.
wow.
So yes. So every Vanessa started and I finished it of ordering Dom Perignon everywhere that we went. So it was fun. And the two hotels are within very close walking distance of each other.
Oh,
So
that's
we could
cool.
go. Yes, yes. And the one in the La Maurice had a huge, huge, like a tarp kind of thing in the dining room area that the daughter of the interior designer had painted, and she did it as a tribute to Dolly because Dolly evidently had spent months in that hotel at different times. And so,
Salvador Dali?
yes, yes, yes.
And just in case it was Dolly Parton,
No,
I
no.
did, I'm like, what Dolly are you talking about?
Yes,
Hello,
Salvador.
Dolly.
Yeah,
Okay.
Dali,
Yeah.
Salvador. Yes, and yeah, it was a amazing, amazing, beautiful,
Yeah.
um, yeah, beautiful
That's
tart.
cool.
Yeah,
Wow. So you got a little bit of everything, a
yeah.
little bit of the monuments by going to the Eiffel Tower and things like that, but then the restaurants and the shopping, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the champagne, the
Yes.
nightclubs, but then still living in, the neighborhood. I think that's really a nice balanced trip.
It was. It was really fun. I like the fact that we cooked some of our meals with food that we gathered from the local grocery store and from the food market, and yet we
Hmm.
went out a couple of evenings too to have dinner
Yeah,
in Parisian restaurants.
that makes sense. And the lunch with the raclette and the
Yeah,
cheese
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah, more wine.
yeah,
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 this sounds good. This sounds
yeah,
good. This is a good
yeah,
idea. And I'm
yeah.
seeing like I think there's more women getting together and doing these kinds of adventures. Mother daughters, they're saying that mother daughter trips are really high up on the list. Would this be something you would recommend? Like do that kind of experience where you're living it, but then also you still get to be, a traveler at the same time.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Hmm.
I that it makes it more personal to stay in like an Airbnb and stay somewhere that's not. We were right next to the metro for everything we needed. And when
Okay.
we went to Versailles, and when we went to Versailles,
Oh
that took
wow, that's
there were
amazing.
4 of us, and it took 4 of us to get that the metro figured out because we had to change our train 4 times. But we did it, and it was a bonding experience too. We had lots of laughs.
I was going to say you have to laugh at stuff because
Yeah.
you don't try to get mad or upset. Laughing is that's that's the key. Laughing and champagne is the key to travel.
Right.
You know, that's how it is. Well,
Yeah.
that's Versailles. I've always wanted to go to Versailles. So much history went down there. You
Yes.
know,
I
is
had
it
read
that?
quite a few different Parisian books before I went. They were historical novels, but they talk
Mm,
about the reign of Henry the 14th. Uh, we also went to Shakespeare and Company bookstore, and that was because we had also several of us had read a book about that particular bookstore, which
oh,
is the only English bookstore in Paris.
okay.
And he's known for having tumbleweeds stay, that's what he called them, stay in his bookstore. And those are people that wanted to stay overnight for a night or 2 nights. And
Hmm.
his qualification was that they had to actually work in the store and they had to write a short bio about themselves and they needed to read a book. Then they could stay there for free in the bookstore.
Well, that's interesting. So, did you get to see where people stayed?
Yeah, yeah. Yes, we
Oh,
did.
oh my gosh. Do they still do that or no?
Yes, I think they still do that.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
a trip.
And
That's
there were little
fun.
Post-it notes written by the people who had stayed there.
Oh, cool. How cool. I like the tumbleweeds part too. That's kind of cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that's the thing about I feel like Europe really understands the arts and the importance of independent bookstores and things like that. Did you feel that while you were in Paris?
Oh, yes,
Paris?
and that city and the metro are so clean. I know the Olympics were there, and that may be part of the reason, but just immaculate,
Mm,
in the city, and it's an easy city to get around in too. The metro is
mm,
not that difficult unless you're, doing 4 stops and 4 different places.
yeah.
Generally, it's just very easy, and it's very walkable too.
Oh, that's good. The walking of Paris, I think that's something I would like to do is just walk
Yes,
everywhere,
yes.
and just look at it. Because aren't there canals too and stuff that you can walk along and
The Seine River, you can
hmm.
walk along. Yeah, more just that river, but we did a lot of walking, and I like doing the walking because it gets you out where there are Parisians on the street, and you
Hmm.
see how they live. You see all
Hmm.
the different little shops and things that you don't see if are doing an Uber or something.
Yeah, I agree. And with all that cheese, it's a good thing.
Yes.
With cheese, champagne, and then you just, saunter off. But
Oh, and the
yeah.
croissants.
Oh,
Croissant.
oh,
Yes, gotta have
yeah,
those.
that's oh my. Yeah. What's the coffee like? Like when you think
Oh,
about like having
wonderful,
the croissant.
wonderful.
Oh,
Yes, yes, we had to have coffee too. I love cappuccinos, and so
mm,
that's what I had in the morning. So,
with a croissant.
yes.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah, that sounds perfect. And they do a lot of walking. They're always talking about how, you know, slender a French woman is. And then I read this whole thing about it's because they drink a lot of red wine and have leek soup and a lot of leeks. And I tried
Oh,
that.
oh.
It didn't work for me. maybe I should try again. I think I'm at that point I really need to. But because I don't want to get up, I can't give up the red wine. So if
Right,
it's only leeks that I need to do,
right.
you know,
That's
let's do
pretty
that.
good.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. So glad to have you back on the show. It's such a nice alternative to what, the typical things to do, to hear this story and this adventure. So where's your next adventure?
Well, I'm going to Connecticut to see my
Ooh,
daughter in about 2
ooh.
days, but,
Oh, nice. Nice.
beyond that, I don't know where I'm going next year, but I'm definitely going somewhere fun
Okay, cool.
and
Well,
and
yeah.
international.
Oh, yeah, yeah, you have
Yeah,
to, but
yes.
yeah, I mean, and Connecticut's beautiful too. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
it
gonna
should
hit
be
the
really
tail end
nice
of the
right now.
season. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're gonna hit that tail end of the fall season with all the
yeah,
leaves and all
yes,
of that. So have
yeah,
fun, enjoy, safe travels.
okay.
Everyone, again, Linda's article is up and listed and linked in the show notes. It's up on blendradioandtv.com. I also encourage you to go to the International Food Wine Travel Writers Association website, especially if you're a writer, a destination marketing organization, a winery, you name it. If you're in the world of food, wine, and travel, check it out. It's IFWTWA.org. And keep up with Linda at toastingfoodwinetravel.com. Keep up with her adventures there. Thanks so much. And happy holidays to you too.
Oh, same to you, Lisa. Nice
Thank
talking
you.
with you.
You too. Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Food, Wine, and Travel Show featuring members of the International Food, Wine, Travel Writers Association. We encourage you to visit their website. We say IFTWA, which is IFWTWA.org. You can also follow us at bigblendradio.com. Happy travels, everyone!